In this episode of SolarBro Explains, we discuss the controversy around the eco-footprint of solar panel manufacturing. Why this and why now? 2 years ago, a story in a business magazine caught my eye, and since then, it kind of spilled to other venues, forum threads, and the sidelines of mainstream press. There's been some talk that our beloved solar panels have a dark side, and this is an amazing topic for a video. You see, few expected to read the words dark side next to solar panels. Unless we're really talking about the backside of a solar panel at dusk time, then it might really be the dark side. Everyone always assumed that solar panels are fundamentally eco-friendly. So what's this new dark side about? I'm Bro Dan, co-founder of SolarBro.eu and your host for this episode. Yo, let's get started. Today, more than ever, we're facing the now much more obvious climate change and the growing need for sustainable energy resources. And solar panels play a crucial role in our quest for a future where the air is clean and the skies are blue. We have just few proven sustainable energy technologies, with wind and solar power in the lead, with historic adoption rates in recent years and all that. SolarBro focuses on solar. Well, it's in the name, so I will not talk much about turbines. However, just briefly, one can imagine that producing, transporting, and recycling gigantic, barely treatable fiberglass structures that need enormous specialized vehicles, well, it will have some long-term impact one way or another. Solar panels, on the other hand, have always been the champions of green. Even compared to other basic consumer electronic goods, like toasters and microwave ovens, solar panel production tends to have a lower environmental footprint in the long term. This is because the key component of the panels, the photovoltaic crystals, are essentially just silicone diodes, something widely, and I stress widely, used in electronics, not only in their light-emitting form like an LED, but also in the form of rectifier diodes, like this little body over here. Every consumer electronic device contains anywhere from dozens to hundreds of those little things, and all of those tiny diodes are made by cutting silicon crystals into slices, which are then doped with elements like phosphorus or boron to give them semiconducting properties. The end result is a diode, one of the basic building blocks of electronics that is like a one-way street for electrical current. Production of energy out of light that shines on a diode is simply an immensely useful side effect. All in all, there are two major groups of solar panels used in the industry today. Rigid-based solar panels have been in wide use for decades. It's a proven design, but it has significant drawbacks, mainly the extra weight, extra volume, and higher cost of materials. Flexible solar panels, on the other hand, do not have the rigid frame. Instead, energy-producing solar crystals are enclosed in a frozen solution of a transparent polymer, which holds it all together and even allows some bending. However, ultra-large flexible solar panels may become too fragile to handle safely, which would shorten their lifespan, but smaller panels cope very well with their hard life. So the starting point for solar panels is the same as for any other consumer electronic device, containing lots of copper, silicon, plastics, and aluminum and lead. But then, modern flexible solar panels like the ones used by SolarBro do not contain anything else but silicon and plastic and some copper and lead for the wiring. We're talking about the most basic, least harmful electrical device possible. Now seriously, microwaves and smoke detectors, so those bad boys can be really dangerous if mistreated. Google radioactive smoke detectors, and don't tell me I didn't warn you. There is no radiation, no leaks of compounds into the environment, no noise, and no vibrations. Once you install a solar panel, it will patiently serve you, giving you 10 to 20% of the sunlight that you manage to collect as energy. Solar panels generate clean, renewable energy over the lifetime of 10 to 20 years, which offsets the emissions and energy consumption associated with their production and transportation. As the efficiency of solar panels improves, and their production becomes more environmentally friendly, their environmental footprint will continue to decrease. So okay, even though solar panels provide clean energy during their operational lifetime, still, their production and transportation do have some expected environmental impact. But compared to many other consumer goods, especially many of those involving non-renewable resources, solar panels tend to have a significantly lower overall environmental footprint. When designing the panels for our SolarBro kits, we try to pick a cost-efficient mix of materials, with highest priority on those that are the least harmful to the environment. Out of all the options we had, one choice in particular had the biggest impact. The result, at least to me, and pardon me, I do love our product, so I am a bit biased, well, the result is really impressive. We decided to go with a non-rigid, partially flexible base to significantly reduce the weight of our panels. Ditching the aluminum frame and the tempered glass, half the weight and cut the transportation volume by nearly 2/3 of that of the classical framed panel. After trying several lighter plastics and epoxies as a replacement for the frame, we got an offer from a supplier who has a production line based on ethylene tetrafluoroethylene, or ETFE. And it turns out that ETFE is extremely well recycled and doesn't leak any nasty particles into the environment because of sunlight, wind, or rain. This compound makes up the most of the mass and volume of our flexible solar panels. It's what makes them special. Ethylene tetrafluoroethylene, or ETFE, is not a new material. Developed in the 70s, its first large-scale use revealed in 2001 and later with such emblematic buildings like the Alliance Arena or Eden Project and many others. Architects of the new millennia embraced ETFE as a miracle structure material. It doesn't require as much energy during production and doesn't involve forever chemicals like some other high-endurance materials. What's impressive about ETFE is how easily it can be recycled. It is a thermoplastic material, which means it can be melted and reprocessed multiple times without significant loss in quality. This feature makes ETFE highly recyclable in just a few easy steps: clean, shred, and melt. Production of fluoropolymers, including ETFE, is energy intensive and involves a range of toxic chemicals. If not properly managed, it may lead to severe consequences. Still, in case of ETFE, the downsides are limited and upsides are strong. Its recycling superpower is amazing. You can shred remelted many times with barely any reduction in material quality. While ETFE production is generally less harmful to the environment, it is still important to consider the overall environmental impact of its production and recycling processes. For instance, when burned, ETFE releases a dangerous toxic acid. Thus, care must be taken to not overheat it during recycling. Responsible practices, proper waste management where possible, can help protect the planet better. Besides this amazing polymer that upon research actually shows up as a champion of sustainability, there's one specific element present in most solar panels that is really dirty, and that's lead. It's used for soldering copper wires together. Some soldering is done using lead-free compounds, but in case of thicker contacts, lead is unavoidable. But what about the quantities? On average, a 300-watt solar panel will contain around 15 to 20 grams of lead. Our balcony railing panels contain just below 6 grams of lead. You can see that quantities are rather tiny, and given the huge lifespan of solar panels, it is an acceptable evil. There is an active research into conductive epoxy compounds that could replace lead-based solder in a fully compliant way. If it succeeds, this problem will cease to exist one day. So the real challenge for solar is circular economy. Collecting and processing of old panels into components for new ones is still above its break-even point. Across the industry, there are a few companies that actually integrated recycling into their business model. With an average recycling cost of 20 euros per 400-watt panel, this is still 10 times greater than just dumping it into a landfill, but the long-term benefit for society is obvious. Further widespread adoption of solar across households will organically boost the need for such recycling capacity, bringing the cost down. We at SolarBro plan to ramp up recycling capabilities by year 2025, but as of today, the reality is that a good fraction of solar panels, including ours, will one day end up buried in a landfill. In the decade to come, the percentage of simply dumped stuff will diminish. But we think that the true way to be responsible is to ensure that both recycling and dumping scenarios are environmentally safe and sound. Care must be taken to prevent accidental burning of ETFE materials, which is a risk when done on a massive scale, and waste management supervision is essential here. The interesting thing about this is that despite some of those issues, compared to most other electronic devices like mobile phones, solar panels still are much easier to process in terms of recycling and waste management. If you consider the overall huge net energy impact of solar panels, it is clearly a net positive electronics device that makes your energy consumption greener and more sustainable. To summarize, are solar panels dirty? Is there a dark side? Absolutely harmless, and there is no catch, no dark side to them. In terms of raw materials used, solar panels require just the basics that are used all over the world in all sorts of manufacturing. There's nothing special. And most solar panels have a lifespan that goes way beyond your iPhone, toaster, or dishwasher. While conventional rigid solar panels carry an extra weight of aluminum and glass, which makes recycling more expensive, flexible ETFE panels, on the other hand, bring a huge reduction in transportation and reprocessing footprints. SolarBro.eu designs and promotes solar kits that can be installed on a balcony without permanent connections. If you're an urban dweller like me, these kits can transform the way you charge your favorite devices and add a definitive sustainability trait to your home. Like, subscribe to our channel and share this video. Let the energy be with you. And until next time,